All right, welcome. It's time for us to talk sports on Global Television. The king of sport is in full flight, and I've got all the big stories making the rounds in the exciting world of sport. We're beginning from the Confederation of African Football, and we're getting set for CHAN 2025. Let's give you the big story. Yes, President of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe, will visit Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda, the three nations that will host the 2024 African Nations Championship this week. Motsepe will start with a visit to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania on Thursday. The CAF president will then move to Kampala, Uganda, and Nairobi, Kenya on Friday. During his visit, Motsepe will meet with government, football leadership, and local organizing committees from the three countries. The schedule of activities and meetings includes visits to the stadiums and training sites that are currently undergoing renovations ahead of next year's competition. Let's give you the story report that a CAF inspection team visited three countries last month. Meanwhile, they got some good news and some not too good news, and that's why they're repeating this visit this week. All right, from the CHAN tournament, let's come down to Nigeria as we look at the NWFL 2024-2025 season. Yes, we're talking Nigerian Women Football League 2024-2025 season. It's coming upon us already. The Nigerian Women Football League NWFL has approved Wednesday, January 15th, 2025 as the kickoff date for the new season. The announcement was made through a communique at the league's annual General Assembly. The assembly resolved that the league would be played in a group format. Group A consists of my darling team, Edo Queens. We've got Abia Angels in that team, Ekiti Queens, Heartland Queens of Owerri, the Confluence Queens of Lokoja. We've got Remo Stars, Remo Stars ladies, I beg your pardon, and we've got the Nasarawa Amazons in that group also. I'm not forgetting the Danas Ladies FC making up Group A. And in Group B, we've got teams like the Rivers Angels FC, Ibom Angels FC. We've got Adamawa Queens in that team. Niger Rattles FC is in this new team. Then we've got the Honey Badgers FC, Robo Queens, one of the big teams in Nigerian female football, is also in that league. And we've got Bayelsa Queens making up that team, and Delta Queens, of course, concluding the Group B of the format. So it's going to be very exciting when you have these great teams making up Group A and Group B. The opening fixture will be between defending champions Edo Queens and Abia Angels, which will take place at the Samuel Media Stadium in Benin City. So it's going to be a titanic battle between Edo Queens, talking about defending champions, and Abia Angels. So one has to go down at the Samuel Media Stadium. So it's going to be a titanic one come next year, 2025. We're talking about the Nigerian Women Football League, and the draws, fixtures, and groupings in Group A and B already out. Like I told you, in Group A, we've got Edo Queens, we've got Abia Angels, Ekiti Queens, Heartland of Owerri, you call them, but this Heartland Queens. We've got a Confluence Queens also in that group, the Remo Stars ladies in that group, and Nasarawa Amazons in that group, and not forgetting Danas Ladies FC concluding Group A. And in Group B, I told you, Rivers Angels make that team. Ebon Angels is in that group, Adamawa Queens in that group, Niger Rattles FC is also in that group. Then we've got the Honey Badgers FC in Group B, FC Robo Queens in Group B, also Bayelsa Queens in that group, and of course, the last but not the least, Delta Queens. And the fixtures, like I told you, the opening fixture will be between defending champions Edo Queens and Abia Angels, which will take place at the Samuel Media Stadium in Benin City. All right, enough of home down news. Let's move to the foreign scene, and the Gunners are in the news this morning. Yes, one guy was the savior for the Gunners yesterday. No wonder he's called Gabriel Jesus. Yes, the big story tells us that Gabriel Jesus needed that a miserable season thus far erupted into life last night as the Arsenal striker plundered his second half hat-trick to book his side a place at the Carabao Cup semi-final after falling behind to gutsy Crystal Palace. By the end, Mikel Arteta sent for the cavalry to ensure his team got over the line. And like every good Christmas nativity, the wise men delivered to ensure the Gunners put themselves within touching distance of Wembley on the heart-stopping night. But it was Jesus, as he should be at this time of the year, who was the center of attention on an evening of twists and turns as the striker breathed life into a season that was flagging before this clash. The key for Jesus now is to add consistency to his game, but this is sturdy platform to build upon. Arsenal's start was far from a vintage, but thanks to Jesus, they got the job done. In cup competitions, that is all that really matters: scoring the goals and getting all the needed points and win to move to the next level of the competition. All right, still talking about the Arsenal game. Let's let you know this. We're talking about Arsenal fans. Fans have slammed their decisions to allow Gabriel Jesus' second goal for Arsenal against Crystal Palace, with the Brazilian appearing to be narrowly offside. Jesus had entered the match bidding to end a long-standing goal drought for the Gunners. The Brazilian ended his barren draw in a stunning fashion, scoring a second-half hat-trick to help Mikel Arteta's side reach the Carabao Cup semi-finals. Meanwhile, Jesus scored his first goal at the Emirates Stadium since December 17 last year to cancel out Philippe Mateta's early strike for the visitors. His second goal proved controversial, with the forward appearing to be in an offside position when he was played through by Bukayo Saka in the 73rd minute. Meanwhile, Jesus slotted past Crystal Palace goalkeeper Dean Henderson of Manchester United to put the Gunners ahead for the first time, but fans insisted on social media that his efforts should have been chalked off. All right, the alleged offense was not picked up by the linesman, and the goal was allowed to stand with VAR not in operation until the semi-final stage of the competition. Meanwhile, Jesus would go on to claim the match ball by adding a third for Arsenal in the 81st minute. The Gunners were forced to enjoy a nervy conclusion to the match after their former striker Eddie Nketiah pulled a goal back 5 minutes from time. All right, that was a very close one for the Gunners there, but escaping with victory. And it was a 3-goal hat-trick by Gabriel Jesus. That's how you announce yourself after a long time out due to injury. All right, let's take you to France. We've got some big stories coming out from France, and it's Paris Saint-Germain in the news this morning. Let's let you know that Paris Saint-Germain star Gianluigi Donnarumma suffered a serious facial injury after being struck by the studs of a Monaco player in their League One clash. The Italian goalkeeper had saved an effort from Wilfred Singo in the first half of the match at the Stade Louis II. Donnarumma was struck in the face by the boot of Singo after making the save, suffering multiple cuts onto his face. Singo avoided punishment for the challenge from referee Francois for his challenge on Donnarumma. The Monaco defender escaped a second yellow card, having already been booked in the 14th minute for a foul on Desire Du. French outlet RMC Sport shared images of Donnarumma's face after receiving treatment for his injury on the face. The goalkeeper reportedly required 10 staples following the cut on his right cheek. Donnarumma had stayed in the tunnel until halftime to demonstrate with the referee over the lack of sanction for Singo's challenge. The Italian has made 15 appearances for Paris Saint-Germain so far this season, keeping 4 clean sheets. The reigning French champions earned a 4-2 win against Monaco on Wednesday. Du had opened the scoring for Paris Saint-Germain in the 24th minute before Elissi Ben Asseguer and Mbolo struck in the second half to turn the match around for Monaco. Meanwhile, a bracer from Ousmane Dembele, either half of a strike from Goncalo Ramos, so PSG hit back to secure victory late on. The result saw Luis Enrique's side move 10 points clear at the top of the Ligue 1 table. Marseille and Monaco lie second and third in the table, with the former having a game in hand. Okay, so those are happenings from the French League. Let's go for a quick break. When we return from the break, we'll be taking to Old Trafford, where one man, Amorim, wants Rashford to stay put at Manchester United. That will be after this break. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. It's still Talk Sport, and we've got some big stories coming out from Old Trafford. And the big man there, Rashford, says he wants to leave, but Ruben Amorim wants Marcus Rashford to stay at Manchester United, despite the player's claims that he is seeking a new challenge. Rashford shocked United in a bombshell interview on Tuesday by saying he is ready for the next steps in his career after 2 decades at the club. But Amorim, who asked Rashford from his squad for the Manchester derby victory at the Etihad last weekend, insists he wants the 27-year-old to stay and pursue his ambitions at Old Trafford. Meanwhile, Amorim played down concerns that Rashford's comment could cause problems for the rest of the dressing room. Amorim has yet to decide if Rashford can play in Thursday's night Carabao Cup quarterfinals at Tottenham in the circumstances. All right, from that talking point of Rashford getting into too many troubles, let's talk about one man who was with the Red Devils and had gone to Napoli. Yes, we're talking about McTominay. And the big talk is that Scott McTominay has opened up on his final words to then Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag as he ended a 22-year association with the Red Devils in the summer. The Scotland star completed a $25.7 million transfer to Serie A giants Napoli, having been lightning rod for criticism at under Ten Hag since arriving in Naples. The 28-year-old scoring 3 goals and providing 3 title chasers. The decision to swap Manchester for the south of Italy is proving to be an astute one, and the midfielder revealed that his intention to look out for a number one drove his desire to change. McTominay claimed that he told Ten Hag as much during a difficult final day at the Carrington, despite the Dutchman's preference that he stays at Old Trafford. McTominay has already become a favorite among the supporters of the 2023 Serie A winners, as the Conte side sits just 2 points off the top of the table after 16 matches. Meanwhile, let's tell you that McTominay, who is 27, was left out of United squad for the Manchester derby win over rival City on Sunday. All right, let's move on talking about not McTominay there, but Rashford being left over. All right, well, let's still talking about transfer business. We're looking at one man, Victor Gyökeres, feels the Manchester United interest. That's the big headline story you see in the papers, as Victor Gyökeres has feared speculation that he could be reunited with Ruben Amorim at Manchester United, after admitting it is his ambition to play in the Premier League. The Sweden international has stayed at Sporting since moving to Portugal, and is currently Europe's most prolific goal scorer this season with 18 goals in all competitions. Amorim's arrival as the newly appointed United head coach in November saw the 39-year-old take over a squad left amid chaos by Erik ten Hag. Meanwhile, he's still assessing the need for new recruitment. His transformation project that has seen Amorim turn Gyökeres, formerly of Coventry, into one of Europe's best goal scorers, has seen United fans call for the striker to move to Old Trafford in the summer. Meanwhile, Amorim has denied the suggestion that he will launch a raid on his former club in the short term for Gyökeres, but the player has since outlined he has always wanted to play in England top flight. Meanwhile, the 26-year-old previously left a championship outfit Coventry last year in a £20 million deal following the club's defeat in the second division playoff final against Luton. All right, that's knowing that story alone about should United press ahead with the pursuit for Gyökeres, then it might just be possible and expected that they will have to pay at least £70 million to secure his signature. The move could be funded by selling players deemed surplus to requirements who could leave for as little as £40 million after publicly declaring his interest to depart Old Trafford. Meanwhile, United's number 9, Rasmus Højlund, is doing his best to prove to Amorim that a new striker isn't needed, and has impressed at the start of his second season at Manchester United with 7 goals in 18 appearances across all competitions. All right, that's talking about Manchester United news. Now let's move on. We have a man is in the news. His name Neymar. Yes, we're looking at Neymar's story this morning, as Neymar has taken issue with his treatment at Paris Saint-Germain in a rebuke of the supporters at his former club. The Brazilian was signed by the Parisians for a world record of £198 million fee in 2027, and went on to score 118 goals and provided 77 assists in 173 games for the club. Meanwhile, the 32-year-old 6-year stint in the French capital would ordinarily be remembered as a resounding success. Neymar won 5 French titles, 3 French Cups, and was routinely considered among the best players on the planet during his time. And but given the side's failure to achieve the ultimate aim of winning the Champions League, an objective made harder by his regular injuries during the business end of the season, his contribution is often downplayed, now attempting to rediscover his best form after returning from injury at Saudi Pro League outfit Al Hilal. The forward has addressed the criticism he faced from Paris Saint-Germain supporters and insisted it wasn't really fair. Last May, fans were filmed chanting for the board to resign outside club headquarters. All right, let's moving on to other stories making the rounds. One man, yes, did win the FIFA Best Men's Player despite losing out on the Ballon d'Or, and this is like a compensation from FIFA to the man Vinicius Junior. Let's just let you know that Real Madrid star Vinicius Junior has won the FIFA Best Men's Player of the Year award across an outstanding 2023-2024 season. Vini Junior won the Champions League and the La Liga under Carlo Ancelotti at Madrid, as well as the Spanish and European Super Cups. In that time, he scored 24 goals and created 11 assists in for his teammates, with in particular coming when he scored the Champions League final and put Barcelona to the sword in a hat-trick in the domestic Super Cup. All right, all this comes after he and his fellow Los Blancos stars decided to snub Ballon d'Or in October, having learned in advance that Manchester City's Rodri would take home the prize. The FIFA president and the FIFA Best Men's Player awards Vinicius Junior for his achievements between August 21, 2023 to August 10, 2024. And let's also let you know that it was a panel of 11 players who were nominated, with Jude Bellingham, the only Englishman in that mix, and then his shortlist was voted on by a national team coach and captains, football journalists and fans. This was Vinicius Junior's first prize, with Lionel Messi having won the two installments before him. The Argentinian wasn't around, even nominated this time around. It has been running in his current form since 2016, though it was previously known as the FIFA World Player of the Year. It is not always the case that a player will win both due to the different time span they cover. Meanwhile, Carlo Ancelotti was voted as Coach of the Year, while Emiliano Martinez won the best goalkeeper, and Alejandro Garnacho was handed the Puskás Award for Goal of the Year after his stunning overhead kick against Everton. Meanwhile, when it was leaked that Rodri was in fact the winner, Real Madrid reacted furiously, and not a single club representative was there to watch their team win several honors at the event, and their players place high the main list with Vinicius second, Bellingham third, Dani Carvajal fourth. He had been in the hot favorite to win the 2024 Ballon d'Or after his epic contribution, leading Madrid to the front line of the UEFA Champions League and also the La Liga double. The Brazilian 24 hit 6 goals and 4 assists in 10 Champions League appearances and tallied a 20 goal involvement in 26 La Liga matches. Those are some of the interesting stories making around, talking about Vinicius Junior finally getting his own flowers from FIFA directly, and I bet you getting it from FIFA makes more sense than the Ballon d'Or. All right, still talking about issues, giving you the full list of winners of the FIFA Best Player of FIFA Award, Football Award 2024. We've got that Spain's Aitana Bonmati claimed the Women's Player of the Year award, while Brazilian star Vinicius Junior secured the Men's Player of the Year title. Top coaches, goalkeepers, and memorable goals were also recognized in the star-studded event. Meanwhile, let's give you the list of some of the awards for the Women's Player of the Year award. Aitana Bonmati, FC Barcelona and Spain, while the Men's Player of the Year award was Vinicius Junior, Real Madrid and Brazil. Women's Goalkeeper of the Year, we had Alisa Naja from Chicago Red Star and the U.S. national team. Meanwhile, for Men's Goalkeeper of the Year, we've got Emiliano Martinez, who plays for Aston Villa, taking the top prize, while for Women's Coach of the Year, Emma Hales of Chelsea and the U.S. national team took the prize. All right, we've got Carlo for the men's coach of the year. For Chelsea, we've got Carlo Ancelotti and Real Madrid. And for FIFA, Mata Award, we got Mata got the award for the women folks. Then the award for goal in the women's football, we've got Mata in the game against Brazil and Jamaica, where she scored a very stunning goal. Meanwhile, best men's goal, Alejandro Garnacho, obviously the winner. Everton versus Manchester United was the match where he scored that very beautiful goal. All right, we're still looking at stories making the rounds in the world of sport, and we're still talking Rashford this morning. As the big story talks about Rashford being left out. Yes, want away, Manchester United want away Marcus Rashford. Want away star has been omitted from Robert Amorim's squad to face Tottenham on tonight. The Red Devils will take on Spurs in a crucial League Cup quarterfinals after triumphing 2-1 over rivals Manchester City on Sunday, and are set to be without their highest earner again at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Meanwhile, £375,000 a week star, that's Rashford, announced on Monday that he is ready for a new challenge away from United after 2 decades at the club, just a day after being left out of his side's dramatic derby win over City. Meanwhile, Alejandro Garnacho, who was also omitted from Amorim's squad against the reigning champions, has returned to the squad and was seen alongside his teammates as they began the journey to London for today's Champions League. Perhaps in an effort to keep a low profile, the Argentine, who is 20, was pictured sporting a black beanie and a snort to cover his face. Aside from his Manchester United derby snub at the weekend, Garnacho has much to celebrate. Over the weekend, Garnacho did win the Puskar Award. That's the FIFA Puskar Award for his stunning overhead goal kick against Everton at the Goodison Park last season. Meanwhile, Sunday's match winner Ahmed Diallo was part of the travelling party along the likes of Casemiro, Harry Maguire, Manuel Ugarte and Anthony. The 22-year-old winger inspired United late comeback by winning Bruno Fernandes's equalizing penalty in the 88th minute before netting the winner himself moments later. Continuing his fine form under the new manager, Amorim refused to close the door on Rashford's career on Wednesday by insisting he wants to keep the winger in the team for the future. Meanwhile, Mail Sport previously revealed that the club would be willing to sanction sale for a fee in the region of £40 million. All right, let's do Liverpool and give you the story as regards Liverpool. Liverpool progressed to the Carabao Cup semi-finals on Wednesday night after they beat Southampton 2-1, and the Slots, who was serving a touchline ban, selected a youthful and much changed lineup at the St. Mary's. However, they showed no signs of any rust or inexperience with the Danny Nunes and Harvey Elliott putting the Reds 2-0 up in the first half as the Saints continued to struggle following Sunday's 5-0 bashing by Tottenham Hotspur. All right, just to let you know that the Spurs, Tottenham did fight back in the second half, and Cameroon Archer's stunning strike helped to ensure a nervy finish, but Slaughter's side survived despite some late pressure to hold and progress to the Final Four as the Dutchman chases his first trophy with the club. Okay, let's go for another quick break. When we return from the break, we'll be talking about some transfer news and some loan moves that's happening in the EPL. Stay with us. the Seagulls so far this season are playing just 368 minutes in total across all competitions. Ferguson has started just twice in the Premier League for the Fabian Hosela's side with his only goal of the campaign coming against the Wolves in October. The Ireland international had played 36 matches in all competitions last season for Brighton, scoring 6 times in total. His progression has been hit by an ankle injury, which had kept him out of for 5 months, forcing him to wait until September for his first appearance this season. Meanwhile, Ferguson was linked with a loan move away from Brighton last month in search of a regular minutes with Danny Welbeck, Jorginho Rota, and Yao Pedro among Hosela's attacking options. According to the independent Premier League rivals, Fulham are exploring the possibility of a loan move for Ferguson until the end of the season. Marco Silva's side reportedly believe they can offer Ferguson regular game time and strengthen their forward line. Meanwhile, the Cottagers are currently 8th in the Premier League table on point level, but 1 place ahead of Brighton. Noah Hogger's side, however, had attempted to pour cold water on suggestions Ferguson could leave on loan in January. All right, we'll get to see if he will be leaving Brighton, but indeed he's a very good striker. Hopefully he's going to be making his mark in the coming season. All right, from England, let's take you to Serie A. Talking about Italian football now, let's take you to Inter Milan. That's where the big story is, as Manchester United have suffered a blow to their aims of rebuilding their side as a top target. From Inter Milan has snubbed them to sign a new deal. The Red Devils have swapped boss Erik ten Hag for Portuguese manager Ruben Amorim in October, with the club standing in the 14th position on the table. The former Sporting Lisbon coach has had a mixed start to his stint in charge, suffering losses to Arsenal and Nottingham Forest before bagging a memorable win over rivals Manchester City on Sunday, thanks to last-minute comeback. United looks set for an overhaul as Amorim aims to put his stamp on the club, with a host of comings and goings expected in the general transfer window and beyond. Indeed, the likes of Garnacho, Marcus Rashford seem to have fallen down the pecking order, having been dropped for the Manchester derby, with the latter suggesting in an interview with Henry Winter yesterday that it was a matter of when, not if, regarding his departure. One of the positions in the need of strengthening is left back, but United have been hit with a setback after Italian star Federico Di Marco turned down their interest in favor of extending his contract with Inter. Football Italia reports that the 27-year-old has proved an attacking threat for the high-flying Serie A side, scoring 3 goals and assisting 3 in 14 league matches, as the club raised to the 3rd in the table with a game in hand and 6th in the Champions League group stage. That Inter Milan star refusing to sign up with Manchester United believes that his future lies with the Serie A champions. All right, let's move on to matches that were played yesterday. We've got Crystal Palace in the news this morning, as we tell you that global investment firm Sports Bank are on the verge of agreeing a deal with Crystal Palace owner John Textor over a 45 stake in the club. Meanwhile, Maysport has learned that the group led by South South London-based businessman Zakaria Janju and Navas Jaffa have been selected as Textor's preferred bidders in the race for the Sehoff Park boardroom. Meanwhile, Sports Bank have been notified of their status as preferred bidder as they look to seal a deal worth £230 million. Talks are now at an advanced stage with sources closer to the deal hopeful that the transaction can be ratified by the start of February 2025. The structure of the deal is still to be finalized, with discussions over whether Sports Bank will purchase Textor's 45% share in Palace outright, or whether they would buy into the American businessman's company, Eagle Football Holdings, the umbrella that controls the Premier League club Botafogo, Lyon, and Molenbeek. Either way, Sports Bank will assume responsibility for Palace alongside fellow co-owners Steve Parish and American tycoons Josh Harris and Dave Blizzard. Sources say interested parties, two other parties, retain an active interest in the Palace. Those groups are understood to be tech entrepreneur Stanley Tang, who is worth an estimated £1.7 billion, and Morgan Stanley, sports executive of Bijan Exmal Consortium that includes former Rock Nation attorney executive Walid Mer and Saudi businessman Hada and Mansour Seed. Okay, so those are the people trying to buy over Everton. Last season we saw a lot of attempts to buy Everton, but that did not materialize. So would it be in 2025? It's the big story there to find out if by 2025 Everton will be having new owners is the big question. Let's talk about one of the most successful coaches in world football. His name, Carlo Ancelotti. Yes, Carlo Ancelotti is in the news this morning as Carlo Ancelotti has become Real Madrid's manager with the most trophies after he trashed Pachuca 3-0 to win the FIFA Intercontinental Cup on Wednesday night. Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, and Rodrigo all scored as the Los Blancos clinched their latest piece of silverware. It is also a record-breaking 15th trophy for Ancelotti, with the Spanish giant across 2 spells. In total, he has now won 3 Champions League trophies, 2 La Liga titles, 2 Copa del Rey, 2 Spanish Super Copas, and 3 UEFA Super Cup, with 2 Club World Cups and the Intercontinental Cup. Ancelotti has surpassed Miguel Munoz, who managed Real Madrid from 1959 to 1974 and won 14 trophies during that time, including 9 league titles and 2 European Cups. What I do is all that Ancelotti has won, and we'll be giving you more details and talking about that very soon. Let's see if we'll be able to join our guest who will be joining us via Zoom. His name Ikenna Okonkwo, who is the Secretary General of Sports Writers Association of Nigeria. Hopefully he'll be joining us after this quick break. Let's look at Carlo Ancelotti in close perspective. Stay with us. All right, for the want of time, hopefully next edition we'll be talking to Ikenna Okonkwo, the Secretary General of the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, the FCT chapter, to get his take on some issues making the rounds. But just to let you know that last night was a good night for Liverpool fans as they progressed to the Carabao Cup semi-finals on Wednesday after they beat Southampton 2-1. And Slaughter, who was serving a touchline ban, selected a youthful and more changed lineup at St. Mary's. However, they showed no signs of any rust or inexperience, with Danny Nunes and Harvey Elliott putting the Reds 2-0 up in the first half as the Saints continue to struggle following Sunday's 5-0 bashing by Tottenham. The Saints did fight back in the second half, and Cameron Archer's stunning strike helped to ensure a nervy finish, but Slaughter's side survived despite some later pressure to hold on and progress to the Final Four as the Dutch man chases his first trophy with the club. So would Arne Slot win the Carabao Cup is a big question. He also has the EPL up for grabs. He's also in the Champions League. So a lot of trophies up for grabs for Arne Slot. But which would he win is a big question as we watch keenly to see those that say they will never walk alone. That's how we call it a wrap on today's edition of the program Talk Sports. My name is Anthony Momudu saying thank you for being part of the show.